So whoever's in third, do you think he,
Can you shut the microphone off on that?
Can you guys hear okay? That's not gonna work.
Sarah back yet?
Nope. It's back, Saturday.
You wanna try and,
why don't we shut this off, and then we come back and see if we can figure out.
sure.
So then after we take the break, we'll have ranked choice voting. There'll be second and third place. The third place will be eliminated. If there is a tie between second and third, we have a weighted criteria, and that person will then be assigned third place and be eliminated. If there is a tie, there also will be a weighted criteria to determine the winner. After that is revealed who has the highest, discussion will continue, and we'll have to go with a motion to move this to the council. This will go to the next council meeting. And from there, they would have another meeting, then go into closed session to move forward on awarding the fire station. All right, so the first application, proposal A, is tap and ladder machete. So the summary is Brian and Amanda, in partnership with Juliana Ocampo, proposed to transform these two landmark properties into a welcoming, locally owned destination that preserves their historic character while introducing fresh, modern amenities. Downtown Lake Elmo currently lacks a true community-focused dining hub. Our plan addresses this gap by creating two vibrant gathering places that offer great food, distinctive beverages, a year-round opportunities for connection. The site will be acquired in one joint plan, but proportionally divided, allocating approximately 30% to the parks building and 70% to the fire station, based on final project square footage in coordination with city officials. So that's from the application proposal. This is a sample rendering of the fire station for tap and ladder. So it's a, tap and ladder is one of the uses. It is permitted as a land use. The fire station will be transformed, these is just quotes coming from the proposal, into tap and ladder, a self-pour tap house and casual dining restaurant with approximately 150 seats. Guests will enjoy an approachable menu, burgers, brats, fish fry, and unique signature dishes, alongside a 28-tap self-pour wall, craft sodas, and locally inspired cocktails. Indoor spaces will include flexible seating, a dedicated children's play area, and heritage displays honoring Lake Elmo's fire service and local veterans. Full-view garage doors and spacious patio will create a seamless indoor-outdoor experience with seasonal events and community programming year-round. Now, on the Parks building, it's a rendering of Machete, Mexican restaurant, and is also permitted. The Parks building will become the second location of Machete Cocina Mexicana, a bold, chef-driven concept already thriving on the southwest side of Woodbury, known for its vibrant flavors, handcrafted tortillas, and signature I didn't practice this. Quesadilla yote. I haven't studied Spanish in a long time, so. Okay, Machete will bring authentic Mexican cuisine and a curated beverage program to the Old Village. A patio overlooking Lions Park will create a lively connection between the restaurant and surrounding public spaces. So listed in the proposal, economic impact for both restaurants, the estimated build-out cost, $980,760 for the fire station and $704,220 for Parks building. The estimated FTEs, not including construction, would be 3 full-time at Tap and Ladder, 3 full-time at Machete, and then 20 and 17 part-time, respectively. Parking requirements for all uses. So something to note, and you'll see it on all the slides, is that parking requirements may be waived in the Village Mixed-Use District, recognizing the availability of on-street and shared parking facilities. And this is in our code. So the estimated range, so it's difficult to state exactly without full plans, but it's around 47 to 65 spaces based on what was submitted. And that they're providing off-street parking of 30 to 50 spaces could talk about it later if they would like to, but they have different scenarios, a lot of flexibility with their parking open to different ideas with the city. And this is just one of the layouts that you would see. And then something that is being considered at this point is the purchase price. So one of the things that we instructed the proposers to do is state exactly what that dollar amount is that the city would receive. We know we don't have an appraisal yet. We do know the appraised value is probably gonna be, over, we were telling people about 800,000. So we stated, say 150 less than the appraised value, whichever is less. So the max we would receive for this proposal is 750. So at this point, I'd like to invite Brian up, or anybody else who wants to come up, say a couple minutes, and then answer a question.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Brian Height, and together with my wife, Amanda, we're grateful for the opportunity to share our vision with you tonight. I'd also like to congratulate the other finalists and extend a special thank you to our partner, Julian Ocampo, whose collaboration has been invaluable in this project. Amanda and I have lived in Lake Elmo for nearly 7 years, and for much of that time, we've been developing the idea you see today. What makes our proposal unique is that it's truly for Lake Elmo, by Lake Elmo. Over and over again, through community surveys and on social media, residents have said they do not want more housing in the old village core. They want more restaurants, more family-oriented gathering spaces, and more parking downtown. Our plan answers those requests directly. At the fire station, Tap and Ladder will bring approachable food, a self-pour tap wall designed to look like a fire truck, a dedicated kids zone, something no other establishment in the area offers. Programming like family movie nights, yoga on tap, paint and sip with local artists, and community vehicle displays will make it more than just a restaurant. It will be a year-round hub for connection. At the Parks Building, Machete Cocina Mexicana will deliver bold, authentic food and another lively patio for residents to enjoy. Financially, we are well prepared. In addition to multiple pre-approvals through commercial lenders, one of which is Lake Elmo Bank, we've raised an additional $30,000 since being notified we were in the top 3. Bringing our current total to $110,000 in private investment. We've partnered with over a dozen local businesses, including DSGW Architecture, who is here, Prestige Mechanical, who is here, and the Patriotic Kenny Foundation, who is here, which will benefit directly from charitable bingo and pull tab proceeds. And importantly, our plan expands and improves parking to serve both our venues and the broader community, addressing one of downtown's most pressing needs, while at the same time creating vibrant, welcoming spaces that reflect Lake Elmo's character and values. Our parking lot will remain open to the public. Thank you again for your time and your trust in us, and now I'd like to introduce our partner, Julian Ocampo.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having us here, and very grateful for this opportunity and to speak in front of you. And again, congrats to the other winners here, or finalists. And I just want to say, quick thing. Everything Brian said, it comes from the heart. We've been preparing this. He's been doing a lot more work. And just a little background about me. I grew up kind of in Lake Elmo. My parents were on Highland Trail. I played soccer here in Lake Elmo and in Stillwater. So one of the things that really motivates me when we go into business is opening restaurants or businesses in communities that I have grown up in or been a part of, that I want to give back to now that I'm in a different position. So when Brian approached me and Amanda approached me with this opportunity, it was kind of a no-brainer for me. So I'm just really happy that it's gotten this far, and happy to talk and, and speak to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentations. I think your proposal would make a good sense for Lake Elmo. I'd like to see if any of the other members of the Economic Development Authority have any questions for you. Go ahead, Don.
If that was in here, I apologize, I didn't see it. How many days a week would you be open? Roughly what kind of hours would you cover? What meals,
Yeah,
what's
for-
your coverage?
For tap and ladder, the plan right now is 7 days a week, 4 to 9 or 10 most days, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we would open at 11. Stay open probably till 10 on Friday and Saturday, but obviously that would be, in discussions with figuring out if the city would approve that for Machete.
Yeah, same thing for Machete. Currently, right now in Woodbury, our hours are 7 days a week. We open at 11 a.m. and close at 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Those could also change, but we plan to open every single day. We do that at all the other restaurants we have, and, to serve the community as much as we can.
Thank you.
Does it, go
Yeah, I have a
ahead.
question. Can you speak about your relationship together and how you became connected? I'm curious about that, and I appreciate the passion you've shared here on the podium.
No, so I'll take that one. So a long time ago, high school, I dated Amanda's younger sister. So a long time ago. And since then we've stayed in contact.
My wife.
Oh, sure. I don't know. That's fine. I want to be transparent in here. So yeah. So that's transparent.
The buildings are separate.
Yeah, and then kept in touch through social media, and she approached me last year about this, and I was interested. And as they got further into it, we got closer, and now we're here. That's how.
Cool. Wasn't sure if it was a cold knock. And then question for staff. I have an observation I'd like to share with, can I share that among the
I
four?
think after the questions.
Okay, questions first, then discussion. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question. As part of your proposal, you mentioned the use of tax increment financing as part of your business plan. What would happen if the city council failed to approve that possibility?
I think we're prepared to go ahead and move forward without that if we had to, but what I wanted to make clear in the response was there are options available, and we would be happy to have those conversations with the city to figure out what might be available to utilize. And if the answer was no, our financing, our investors, and conversations with Julian, we're okay to proceed without that if we had to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Guys, so I'm imagining the DSGW has done the survey of the Parks building. I think that's a concern with a lot of people and whether that's salvageable or not. I'm assuming that based on this proposal that you guys have had a pretty good assessment of that building and you're able to maintain it and
We've done a
reuse
good
it.
I'm sorry?
And if not, what's your plan B do you have the ability to finance rebuilding a building?
So we've had a couple of different estimators come in and take a look at the building.
Okay.
DSGW, we made clear at the early onset that if in the event we won, we would like to partner with them as our architecture firm. So we've not retained them to
Okay.
actually
Yep.
go and do that assessment yet.
But I guess, are you financially prepared to rebuild if you had to?
I think it kind of depends on the actual cost after a very thorough assessment.
Okay.
That building is more in Julian's lane because that would be his
Right.
restaurant.
And that building is in much worse shape than obviously the fire station.
Yeah. And then, it goes down to the survey, and after getting all that, we do have the finances or like the pre-approvals and everything. There also is more funds that we haven't discussed or I haven't brought to the table. That in the end, if it gets to that point and we need to do that, then we do have that. And so I also wanted to make sure. So we have Machete Cocina Mexicana here in Woodbury, but we also have all the Los Ocampo restaurants across the Twin Cities. So this is just one different brand that it's kind of like a branch off, that now I'm trying to put more, you know, money in.
Sure.
So, there is that.
Okay, thank you.
So would you both co-own both, or are you gonna be Machete and you're gonna be Tap and Ladder?
Some of that depends on the commercial lenders and how they want to see the financing. We've had that conversation multiple times about different ways we could approach it. Some of that will depend on negotiations with the city. One option is, he owns that building and the restaurant, we own Tap and Ladder. And the restaurant, the other is we own the commercial properties and lease the space back to Machete. I think there was a third option, and I don't remember what that one, we had, we've spent a lot of time discussing all the various options, but it kind of comes down to going back to the commercial lenders and having that discussion of, here's what the appraisal comes in at, here's how that would be divided, and what they're more comfortable with.
So would you, so you would stay in this lane and you would stay in this lane, would you be able to help out this lane if something were to happen?
Yes, so he will be partnering with us on the fire station regardless of how the finances shake out in the end with the commercial lender.
You'll both be
So he
involved
will-
with each other's
yes.
projects?
Yes, on both, yeah.
Yep, correct.
Are there any further questions for the finalists?
So at the next city council meeting, we approve you go forward pending that everything with city staff operates as efficiently as it always does, and it does, because you guys are great. What do you see your timeline as for opening? When would the doors open up on the fire station? And I suspect that your restaurant would be a little later, just based on the scope of work that would have to happen, but
Yeah.
what do you foresee as that timeline?
Yeah, in the discussions we've had with the various contractors we've talked to, it's about a 6 to 8 month timeline once the purchase is finalized. Obviously, there's a lot of variables there. The phase 2, I don't believe has come back yet, so that could delay things as well.
Sure.
But basically, once started, they're estimating about 6 to 8 months.
Cool.
Yeah, and then, just so we can make clear too, if Machete, you know, with the building takes a lot longer, priority would be to get Tap and Ladder going. And we would open that like, you know, spring or.
Tomorrow, really.
Yeah, really
We're
soon.
shooting for tomorrow.
Take advantage of the good weather. And then Machete, it doesn't have to be, you know, it can take what it needs to take depending on what the work needs to be done there.
Okay.
But, you know, Tap and Ladder, I think is a.
You know, I think the fire station of any of these projects, and having done a little bit of homework and looking at it myself, the fire station's the engine of the whole project. That's gonna fuel and fund what else we do, what else gets done there, so, makes sense. Okay.
We have another question from Councilmember Holst.
Yeah, can you say more, so the play area, 19 by 23, what kind of things do you envision for that? Would it have similar hours to the restaurant itself? I see there's an external facing door as well. Would it be, how would that play out in terms of the experience that you would have? Is it very separated, or would a restaurant goer use that at the same time, or is it kind of either or?
I didn't catch the first part of the question. How did they use the?
I mean, what type of activities do you see there? What type of hours? Would it be the same hours
In
as the
kids area
restaurant?
you're talking?
Yes.
I'm sorry, okay. So it would be the same hours as the restaurant, I think is our plan at the moment. I guess that could change depending on, one of the things that we wanted to do is get on social media right away and start asking residents what they wanted to see. So if that ended up being something that we wanted to open earlier, I think we would be open to that. I don't see why that would be a problem. But as far as activities, we're thinking arcades, rock climbing wall, first responder themed toys, books, those types of things, and then a heroes wall that has costumes for kids to dress.
And then with the restaurant, thank you. With the restaurant itself, I'm seeing, different areas. I wouldn't call them wings per se, but some of them are separated with doors. Is the intention that maybe like one is a reservable area for gatherings, or is it's all open, it's just area A, area B, area C?
Yeah, the plan is to open it up as much as possible. That kind of depends, and then there'll be some either half walls or being able to block off some for private rentals. With the kids area, we're talking about, I don't know if anybody goes to Lifetime but there's a kid's gym that has a glass wall with a door, so we'd have that, so parents could see their kids in there. And then
What if you
seating
don't
on-
want to see your kids?
You will need to look for it.
We want cages.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Best of both worlds that
plead the
way.
fifth on that one, I guess.
Thank you.
Don?
One more. What do you see as the biggest challenges, if you will, of having, your two businesses be a long-term sustainable success?
Challenges?
You have 8 restaurants, so that's probably a good answer for you.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen in success that I've been, telling Brian is just continuing to stay involved in the community and, build that goodwill. I mean, I don't really foresee, if anything, it'd be anything like economical where something that we use a lot of changes in price dramatically. That'd be something that'd be hard based on my experience in the last, 15 years to keeping our numbers and our profit and everything correct. That's the hardest thing I've seen. And then, apart from that, just being really involved in the community and, giving back. That's,
I think in the 2 things I would say or add to that is, the first one is the seasonality of Lions Park baseball games. That could impact things slightly, but that's why we also want to do things like family movie night, snowball fights in the patio, snowman building contest, things like that, to always have some reason to be there. And then the other piece is the self-pour tap wall. I don't know if anyone has ever been to one of those, but they're becoming extremely popular for a multitude of reasons. Our plan would be to have 28 taps that are constantly rotating between beer, craft beer, Minnesota brands, seltzers, ciders, wines, mocktails, craft sodas, and the data that's collected through Pour My Beer, who is the vendor that puts those together, allows you to constantly be looking at demand both in the restaurant as well as nationally to see what the trends are. So you're always keeping up to date with what people actually want. One thing that they have noticed over the last 2 or 3 years is craft beer itself is slowly starting to decline. Therefore, having a tap wall where you can quickly adjust based on what that demand is much more economical as that industry starts to shift. One of the other things, Sunshine Coffee, we've spoken to them, and they've agreed to provide us with their cold brew coffee for a nitro draft on the tap wall as well. So it just gives so much flexibility to what the beverage selection is, not just the food selection, and
So-
allows kids as well.
Excuse me, so the pour and bev, is that what that's called? I've been to Malcolm Yards and I've seen it.
Yes, yep.
Are they continuing, will I constantly be connected to you or to give you that information?
Yes.
Or will they control it? Will they change the mix of the?
No, we would be in charge of that. My brother-in-law is a certified Cicerone server, and so he's actually gonna manage the tap list.
But
and
you'll
just be
get data
constantly
and
rating.
input from pour and bev as to
Yes,
what?
yeah, so the national data as well as the in-house data.
Right.
And he would use that based on his experience of selecting beer at the various locations he's worked.
Okay, thank you.
How did you come up with the name?
That's a good, at this point, I don't know if I could remember, but I've gone through about 25 different names, and that's the one that kept coming up.
How about you, since you're branching off?
Oh, machete?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
what I
well-
think about tap and ladder? Or, well, machete cocina mexicana is, I wanted to create something that wasn't just authentic Mexican that you see, like any Mexican you go, it's sombreros, bright colors, very vibrant and all these. That is like, Mexican, traditional Mexican, but I wanted to move that. Well, it's not just me. My wife Emma's here too, so we came up with the idea. We branched kind of like off and create that same authentic base and then give it a different look with a smaller menu, more gourmet food, and also more like craft margaritas and cocktails. And that's kind of what we came up with, Machete Cocina Mexicana, yeah.
Cool.
And it has a good ring to it too, I think. Yeah, yeah.
One more, maybe confirmatory question, just on the kitchen for Tap and Ladder, the vision there is a quick serve, like American type foods. It looks like you've talked to Hagberg, so there's some burger options in the mix. Maybe you quick share the concept there. I think I have an idea, but I would like to hear playback.
Yeah, so.
What the kitchen entails and the food selection.
Yeah, so basically we would double the existing size of the kitchen there to be able to allow for different options. But So we've talked a lot about, you know, main menu as well as kids menus, because we want to do a lot of different kids foods that you wouldn't normally see. Our kids love cinnamon butter toast all the time, so we would have that on the menu, things that you don't see everywhere. PBJs, you don't see those everywhere. You know, our kids are very picky. So we would have things that we know kids are actually going to eat. And then we were also looking at, you know, craft burgers, brats, hot dogs. Cage night would be one of our themes. Amanda and I use grill cages all the time and throw just a whole bunch of various things in there, and you fire roast it on the grill. And so we would have family cage night, and let people come in and sort of pick all of their different ingredients that they want to throw in a cage and grill those and those types of things. So trying to do things that are fun, unique, and also tasty.
Yeah, yeah. And to add to that too, a lot of our staff that have been with us for more than 10 years, 15 years, before that or even during that, they've branched out and gone to different places and worked in places, you know, got a lot more knowledge about American food too. So that's something I told Brian, that we're not just here to make authentic Mexican food that's, you know, made from scratch and all that. We also have the know-how of the American fare too. And a lot of, we made our own things. We don't put them on the menu. It's just different things that we try. I'm like, well, this would be good, but now I think all those things that we have, we could try it out there.
Cool, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Does anyone else have any further questions for the presenters? If not, thank you very much for your time and your effort. Good luck.
Yep, thank you.
I would like to ask Community Development Director Stoppa to give the next presentation.
Okay, so proposal B, we have River Siren Brewing, Lake Elmo Commons. The summary is this plan combines River Siren Brewing Company and the Lake Elmo Village Commons Development Team to deliver a vibrant, walkable village core that honors the city's history while driving future growth. The development includes 3 integrated components. So you can see this is a rendering where they preserve the fire station and then tear down the Parks building, which was something that we said you didn't lose points for in the scoring. And you'll see a mixed-use building with some residential. So River Siren Brewing Company, it's a brew pub. It is a permitted use. The Lake Elmo location will feature a welcoming tap room, indoor and outdoor seating, and a locally inspired menu. Our upgraded brewing system will have a realistic package capacity of approximately 2,180 barrels annually, with conservative estimates of 500 barrels sold directly at the Lake Elmo Brew Pub in year 1, and room to grow as awareness, customer base, and event programming expand. So the estimated build-out cost is $750,000, and the FTEs are 8 to 10. And then Lake Elmo Commons mixed-use building, it's a conditional use. It's roughly 16,000 square feet. It's 1 to 3 retail spaces, 4,860 square feet. Food and drink, retail and or office is envisioned at the site. And then 8 to 12 dwelling units are also envisioned. The economic impact, or the build-out cost, will be about $6.1 million, and the FTEs, not including construction, will be around 11 to 18 FTEs on that site. Public realm improvements. For this one, you see an increased public promenade pathway with landscaping that connects from Lake Elmo Avenue to Lions Park. There's also sidewalk connections, greenway, and a civic plaza included between the 2 uses. Parking requirements, as we said before, there's a waiver in the code. The estimated range is difficult to estimate. You know, if there's different housing units, that changes, what goes into the space, retail, office. So it's difficult to calculate, but it could be anywhere between 66 to 134 spaces. And then the provided off-street parking on the site in the plan was 40 spaces. So this is a overview of the site with the public pathway going from Lake Elmo Avenue all the way to Lions Park. And it shows the parking with the mixed-use building and the brew pub. And the purchase price offer is $200,000. That's a combined price, so it would be $100,000 for the River Siren Brewing Company, $100,000 for the Lake Elmo Village Commons Development Team. So at this point, just like to welcome the team up, whoever wants to come up briefly and answer any questions.
Well, another fun EDA meeting. This has got to be, how long have you been building up to this point where there's 3 teams? It's been a while, I'm sure, looking at that firehouse. I'm Pete Hagstrom. I'm a property owner right next to the firehouse, the old building at 3511 that we bought, oh, man, probably 30 years ago, 40 years ago, renovated. My dad bought the Joshua Taylor building. 45, 50 years, renovated that. And, you know, we just have a love for Lake Elmo and just revitalizing the old buildings. But this is Brian Carlson with River Siren. Jeremy is with Imprint Architects. They're kind of teaming up. And then Kyle Huberty with St. Terre is a great team that has put together a phenomenal proposal as we see it.
Yeah, Mayor Cadenhead and council members, I just want to thank you for bringing us up here and city staff as well, and also congratulations to all the other finalists. I'm Brian Carlson. I'm the owner of River Siren Brewing. We've been in business in downtown Stillwater for just over 4 years now. Recently renovated an existing brewery, added on, changed it. Our goal, and entire goal in that process was to make it a community-focused location. And I think we've excelled at that. We've doubled revenue compared to the prior brewery that was there on an annual basis, and we continue to grow. My wife Harmony and I have lived in Stillwater for over 20 years now. We've got 4 kids in the school district currently, and yeah, when this opportunity arose, it seemed like a fantastic opportunity to continue to grow our business. So thank you for letting us be here.
And hello, everybody. Thank you for having us. Thank you, committee, council members, and I'm Kyle Huberty, and I'm representing the St. Terre Architecture and Development team that's proposing. Really, the mixed-use building is kind of our piece of this. This is a joint proposal where there'll be the brewing team, architect, and owners working together on that component. We're splitting the site and creating this sort of new development. And give you a little bit, our team is here as well as a couple members are hopefully virtually watching in here. This is a team made up of experts in really urban design and architecture design that we specialize in places that have a soul. So we work really with cities that have history and legacies that we really try to focus in on and celebrate. And we know this area well, where we have work currently going on in other areas and cities of similar kind of size and predicaments as we're looking at development and what do these villages do in the sort of in the wave of oftentimes the suburban sprawl and kind of getting surrounded. These cities like Lake Elmo represent places that have history with agricultural legacies, but also have a real downtown that represents a pretty rare opportunity, which is to say a walkable town is really hard to come by. And as we've discovered in our kind of, really hitting the streets, getting to know the people here, this is a place that is really special and beloved to everyone in this community. So when we look at what the future for Lake Elmo should look like, we see a really unique opportunity to sort of continue what's already going well here and to be sensitive and thoughtful to the architecture and the history, while also asking what should and where is this city going? How can we respond to what's happening all around it? And to that end, our proposal is really, it's got some beautiful background buildings. That's the way I would describe them. Our buildings are going to be humble and serve the uses of both living spaces for people to live somewhere where they could have the luxury of stepping out of their front door and walking to a coffee shop or food. It's a really special, unique quality here. But also a place for people to live, work, play, all within the city. But what we're seeing within the city is this opportunity, and really why this team has been brought together, is to use our project as a catalyst to connect Lake Elmo's urban fabric from Lake Elmo to Lions Park. And really to be able to do that, we needed to talk to the neighbors and get involved. And so this is where Pete Hagstrom's location actually has an easement built on it, where you have your Christmas tree lighting every year. That's a public green park, that's an active gathering place. And we see the opportunity to continue that promenade, activating it with a destination brewery and new food and drink retail spaces that could be really enriching the fabric. So what we're trying to, and proposing here is to actually build the sort of the trellis that the vines will grow on. So we're hoping that we can leverage the city's RFP, this site that is underutilized in parking lot right now, and create an additional, really an anchoring building that will support that corner connecting Lions Park to Main Street, and then using the sort of future development to bring in new food and drink that further creates this place as a really both a destination for the local residents as well as people coming from the continual growth all around it. So we see this RFP as really being an opportunity to look at this as a bit of a domino for the next chapter of Lake Elmo, and using it to sort of complete some of the urban fabric and can make these connections that could be built upon in the future. Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll just go ahead. Hi, my name is Jeremy Imhoff with Imprint Architecture and Design. I live in Stillwater and we work out of Stillwater, so I have a real appreciation for preserving the history of the place, and relish these opportunities when, teaming up with Brian here, potentially teaming up with Brian here and adapting this fire station is such a great opportunity to re-envision what the building can be and how it can suit the needs of Brian and also the community. We worked together on Brian's River Siren Brewery in Stillwater, and at the time when we dove into it, it was kind of a bit of a dilapidated building, needed a lot of love added to it, and just with some simple moves, without having to redo the whole building, we added a walkout deck off the back that faces the waterfront, a covered outdoor promenade that connects Main Street to Water Street. And just by some of those moves, it really increased pedestrian traffic through and around the site, and just re-engaged, that direct, the view out to that waterfront and the people to the waterfront who use the space. We see the similar opportunities with the fire station as well. That connection, the immediate connection across the street to the ballpark, the potential pedestrian corridor, the brewery could serve as a real hub to the community for gathering and connecting with people. And the space is already really well suited to be converted to a brew pub. We haven't put pencils to paper specifically on the layout of the space or anything yet, but we already can envision the doors rolling up into a large gathering hall for where you can get food and drink. There's a great space in the back for production, so we can Brian can produce the beer in the back, and then just great opportunities to then open up these doors now to the public and on these outdoor spaces. So that's all I have, and thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'd like to ask for questions from the committee here. Jeff?
Does anyone have any awkward high school stories to share?
None.
No? Okay, I'm gonna ask the third candidate too, but just getting it out there. So, in terms of the walkway, and you had mentioned earlier, the basis or maybe a comparison is that the easement exists where the lighting is. For those who are watching, like that is where Light Up Lake Elmo is. That's in front of your business. Is the intent that this walkway would be the same thing where it's privately owned, but there is an easement over it for public access? Is that the intent?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a connection from the sidewalk of Main Street as it's drawn through our property.
The mic.
Through our property and then to through the public promenade between the two structures, the new mixed-use building and the brew pub, and then Lions Park. And the goal someday would be to carry that path all the way to the developments that are happening east of downtown.
Hypothetically speaking, would it change anything if the walkway were publicly owned?
Well, actually, there is a public easement there.
Correct, just straight up publicly owned in terms, because then
I
private
think
versus
that would
public,
be
you have the
better way
maintenance
that it would
issue, you
go.
have the,
Yeah.
Just speaking to that, like, there will be a rededication of a lot of this land back to the public right away.
correct.
With Pete's engagement and using his site as well as part of this development, there's obviously conversations around that, and it's part of really the understanding of where we're coming at from our pro forma and purchase price and everything, is understanding that this private endeavor will seek to collaborate in a way that is sustainable, and if that means it's better to dedicate a lot of this land to more of a public use, that could be part of that.
Yep. Well, and the root of the question was just in terms of snow removal and maintenance, because that's something that happens a lot of times where we have private roads in certain neighborhoods and then the HOAs are responsible. But obviously, you've dealt with this with your own easement by your property. Other question with the FTEs, can you just describe as able, if you want to, for this forum, where those numbers arise from for each side, 6 to 10 for one, and then 11 to 18 for the commons?
Yeah, I can talk to that from River Siren Brewing perspective. So we would be expanding our brewing capacity. Essentially what we would be doing is moving it from our downtown Stillwater location to the back of the fire station. With that expansion, we will have a full-time head brewer as well as a full-time assistant brewer, and then other part-time, I guess one more full-time equivalent that would help in addition to that process. So that's just on the brewing side. We would also operate a full-service brew pub, so it's not just, right now, our business model, our liquor license is a tap room, so we don't have a food component right now. We would still have a full bar, but we would go for a brew pub license where we would include a kitchen, and that would also allow us to serve things other than what we make. So we could serve alcohol, like spirits. We could also, we have a lot of non-alcoholic options right now, but the combined between the staff that would be supporting the pouring function, beers, tap room, that sort of thing, and then servers that would be serving food, and then cooking staff, back of house staff that would be operating on that end would make that equivalent to 8 to 10 FTEs.
Gotcha. So, because like with a previous proposal, there was mention of full-time and part-time. On your end, it's just lumping it into the full-time category?
Yeah, I combine it to a full-time equivalent.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So I can speak to on the Lake Elmo Commons building, mixed-use building, there's still a bit of a unit mix calculation happening, which could increase or decrease that number depending on the ratio of retail, food and drink options there and relative to a residential component. So where we're at on this is the number is estimated around 2 to 3 food, drink, retail companies occupying this space, providing jobs in that piece, as well as the management and actually running the dwelling units and sort of the management on site. Did I miss anything?
Well, I mean, this was a number based on the square footages, and we do our best to research based on predicted uses versus, a cafe versus a full-service restaurant or different spaces. And so I'm kind of the numbers guy, and I do my best to research those numbers and put the numbers to the square footage that we're allocating. So that's, on that conservative side of what the full-time equivalent employee.
Need to be on a microphone, then we can hear you when you're talking.
Oh, so feel free to do a cliff note into the microphone or to,
Right. Sorry. He's waving at me through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just summarize it.
Hello, my name is Josiah Hanka, so I'm a part of the St. Terre team, and I do my best to run the numbers on a lot of this. And so to the question to where does the calculation for the full-time equivalent jobs come from? And because we are still working out, the partnerships on who lands in these retail and restaurant spaces, I've done my best to calculate based on our square footages and using metrics of what restaurants and other retail spaces equate to in terms of full-time equivalent employees. And so this 11 to 18 full-time equivalent is kind of within that full range of having, just just retail. You typically have 1 to 2 clerks. Or with a full-service restaurant, you're gonna have a full team of, that's maybe 6 people or so.
Thank you.
Don?
Okay, I have 2 questions, but I think, just to clarify, the full-time equivalents that you're saying for the commons side, not for the brewery, for the commons, depend upon you leasing out the retail space. In other words, it's coming from the customers is where the full-time employees are coming from. Is that correct?
Correct, it's coming from the tenants within these buildings that we're gonna build, yeah.
Okay, now I understand. Related question regarding the commons. Who manages the leasing of the retails and the renting or leasing of the residential units?
So we have in our mixed-use development, a full-time management company that will be responsible for the managing of that, and that's kind of built into the operation costs.
And that would be for the long term and not just filling them up initially?
Yeah, absolutely, correct.
Okay.
That's an existing company or part of the company that's being created as part of this development?
We've been connecting with some existing companies to interview them in this process, just in terms of getting interest and gauging some realistic
Okay.
numbers. But we haven't, obviously, we're far too early to secure a relationship, but it is
All right.
existing companies.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Now, a question regarding brewing, and I have a little bias on this. I'm a craft beer junkie, and I don't have any of the big brands, it's all the local ones, but I don't have any River Siren Brewing, and I'm kind of getting at that question. I'm amazed, because I follow how saturated the market is with craft brews. I saw a list of 8 or 10 that went out of business in 2024 in the Twin Cities.
Sure.
A few more new ones opened up. A couple of those actually turned around and closed up. And I think that's got to be because of the saturation of brew pubs, but also what you read with some restaurants having a problem making money is the decline in consumption of alcohol. And I think there was an actual reference of that for the poor tap business. How do you're adding, I think you're adding capacity, or maybe you said you were moving that capacity from Stillwater to Lake Elmo. I'm not really sure, but how do you manage that in the long term? And how much of the beer sale do you have or will you expect to have not on site? How do you do that?
Yeah, so great question. So number one, I would say that yes, there has been a lot of turnover in the brewery industry. Craft beers, obviously, it is saturated. There's a lot of national brands that are out there, fully funded, that are taking up that space on liquor store shelves. Where we see breweries that are shutting down are the ones that are a little bit bigger than us, but they're not quite the size of Liftbridge or Surly, or some of those larger breweries that. These smaller breweries are attempting to do that distribution. They're investing money in the equipment to can their beer, to fight the fight on the liquor store shelves, and they're losing because of all these bigger brands that have, known quality and they can drive costs lower. So that's why you see those breweries shutting down. When we transition to a brew pub model, we actually give up our ability in the state of Minnesota to do distribution. So we won't be selling on liquor store shelves. We won't be selling kegs to restaurants and things like that. We would happily walk away from that business. Right now, I think it's about 1% or even less of our business right now is that distribution. So my goal in is expanding our capacity. So we would put in a brand new brewing system at the Lake Elmo location to support both Lake Elmo and Stillwater, and that's it. We don't have plans to expand beyond that. And the nice thing with a brew pub, I mentioned our liquor license right now is a tap room license. You can only have one tap room. with a brew pub, we can have multiple locations. So if we're successful in Lake Elmo and perhaps we want to open another River Siren location, we could do that under the brew pub model, but we would be hyper-focused on delivering high-quality product that would only be available to the people that are coming to our locations.
So then you would brew some product in Stillwater, you do brew some product here, and would those products be for sale in both locations? Or do I need to, if I really like the IP made in Stillwater, do I have to go to Stillwater?
No, so 100% of our brewing operation would be held in Lake Elmo.
Okay.
And so we would, I haven't thought down the road too much if we would have, my plan would be to have both beers available, or all the beers available at both locations and not separate, but perhaps, I could easily see like a dedicated Lake Elmo IPA or something like that. We have a Stillwater Red, right? That makes sense. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of creativity that we can get with that for sure. In terms of non-beer options as well, there's definitely a growing, particularly with the younger generations of people that aren't as into craft beer as my generation or older have been. We haven't had the space to purchase that equipment that can help us make those NA beers. I've recently learned that there are other services that can help us remove the alcohol from our beer that we're making. We've actually looked at developing kombucha as well, like a fermented tea, and that's a non-alcoholic option, and really exploring that space more. We've seen a dramatic increase in our non-alcoholic options being sold. Like right now, we purchase non-alcoholic beer. We also make a hop water, our own, at our location in Stillwater. And we just recently got approval from the Stillwater City Council to serve THC seltzer. And so we've seen a dramatic increase across the board in all those non-alcoholic options, and we'll continue to expand that. Also, seltzer, we make a hard seltzer, and that has continued to grow as well. The nice thing too about a brew pub liquor license that we haven't had today is that with a brew pub liquor license, we can purchase and then resell wine and spirits and things like that too. So we would look at, opening it up to a much broader menu than just craft beer.
Thank you.
But we would want to keep craft beer as our focus too.
That's very helpful, thank you.
Tony, just to be clear, it's your beer, but that's the only beer that you can sell, or you would sell is the beer that you make?
Yeah, yeah, I would think that's fundamental to our
Just be clear.
business model
Yeah.
and what makes us unique too.
Cool. Is there a concern moving production here with water and water availability and water quality? What's your usage? And I know that we've got water struggles in Lake Elmo.
Yeah, I could definitely provide more data on like the quantity that we
Okay,
use on an annual basis.
Has that been, have you guys considered that at all? Understanding that we want to open a brewery, we're going to use lots of water. There are obviously concerns sometimes with the water in Lake Elmo itself.
Sure.
And how does that apply?
Yeah, so, right, yeah, I mean, I think it's, there's definitely concerns we would have to address that, like
Yeah.
from a water
Okay.
quality perspective and a quantity perspective as well. I think from a quantity perspective, I think last year we used about 350,000 gallons of water. The large majority of that is not from the brewing process.
Clean.
The majority of it is, toilets flushing and
Sure.
hands washing and our dishwasher and things
Yep.
like that. It's not directly from the brewing
Okay.
process. In terms of the quality of water, we don't have a system. There's a reverse osmosis system that can be purchased where you basically bring the water, like filtrate it all out and bring the water back down
Yep.
to zero, and then re-add some of the elements that you want to have in it. And we would look into something like that. We don't use it in Stillwater. We haven't had to, but if that was, yeah, I mean, it certainly.
Is that included, I mean, my thought is that including your number for your funding?
Yeah.
Your
Oh, for
requirements?
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For the architects, guidance was 2.5 stories, we're at 3. Why did we go to 3, and can it work at 2?
It can work at 2. It can work at 2.5. Our proposal at 3 stories was after diving into really a lot of the listening, the theming studies that have been taking place in the city, the precedent that they're looking at in terms of other similar scaled villages and what is precedented from a traditional historical village community. 3 stories is doable within the code height limits. It provides a more eclectic variety of housing, which is really common in these small towns. It doesn't make or break the performa on that. What I would say is in terms of what we're looking at, really trying to do is create a variety of housing facades in a variety of building structures that have a historic precedent. So looking at cities like Stillwater, Northfield, whatever, any of that, yeah.
But you're gonna say it historic, there isn't a 3-story building in downtown. That would be it'd be the tallest building down to Lake Elmo. There is no 3-story building.
There's
The granary
right.
is, but that's,
If it didn't go that way, we can call it 2.5 stories, and you can get those space usable.
Okay.
It really doesn't make or break it, to be honest. It was just kind of coming at from really looking at how do you hold a corner in an urban fabric, having something hold that corner in a way that kind of is maybe where we're looking at that.
and I'm just being considerate
Yeah.
of the house that's there and everybody else. It's a different mass than exists on the street
Yeah.
now. And knowing that's an opportunity, but
It's-
it's a different massing.
It's absolutely different massing, and to be frank, that was one area where internally we're like, I don't know, is this the right move or not? We aren't dependent on it being it's within 35 feet, which is the height limit, and it's precedented on other structures in town, but we don't need that 3rd story.
The pro forma that was provided,
Mm-hmm.
Is that just pro forma for this building? It doesn't include, it's listed as both on the top, but I don't think the numbers include the brewery and the other building. Is it just for the retail and residential building, the pro forma that was provided?
Correct, yeah, that is for the new construction, kind of a static pro forma where we're at in this sort of,
I have concerns about retail rents and what rents are gonna be there. And Rob Hagstrom, you probably know a little better what current rates are in Lake Elmo and what local businesses are paying. I know you've got listed at 38 to 40 a square foot for retail. And is that an all-inclusive rent, or is that would be part of a triple net? So that your rents would actually be, at the end of the day, a retail location would be paying double that when you throw in taxes, insurance,
right.
and utilities. And so is that 38 to 40, is that you're projecting, is that all-inclusive, or is that just rent?
So that right there is, I'm just trying to get my numbers straight on that. That is, I believe that is actually just we didn't break down taxes, the kind of the triple net. So that is just rent. And it is for us a area where we see a more risk in
Yeah.
the pro forma.
And I think my concern there,
Yeah.
and coming from my perspective, is that's at 38 to 40, that's already much higher than any of the other existing retail spaces in Lake Elmo. So if we're gonna bring in an outside business, and I don't know where you're at in lining those up,
Yep.
are they local businesses, or are they more regional or national businesses that can afford, that have that bigger, deeper pocket to get started? It's a tough incubator, it's a tough place for a new business to get started, because the rents are very high.
This, I mean, you could speak to the local, this number is for sure for us, in the mix and how we kind of come up with a sustainable pro forma, frankly.
Right, well,
where-
I think that's the challenge, if you can throw out
It's-
that number, but
right.
if it's not realistic and it's not gonna bring in a local business, then it's not an operating pro forma.
Well,
And so then we've got a neat thing on paper, but it's not,
No.
if it's not physically viable. And I
Right,
wanna
and-
make sure that we understand that and address that it looks nice and it's neat, but if you are gonna charge
Yeah.
rents that, whether it's for the retail space or for apartments, that we wouldn't want or don't expect that the residents of Lake Elmo can afford, or the small businesses in Lake Elmo can afford, then we've provided a structure that doesn't provide the value that we intended it to, or we thought that it would. And I think that's an important factor. And that's why you had offered the pro forma, and that's why I'm the one that asked for it, because I wanted to see it to understand it.
Yeah,
Because, again, if
Yeah.
it doesn't work and it doesn't financially viable for Lake Elmo, then who's coming in there?
right, well, this is the piece that for us is, and you're rightly bringing up, and it is an area for us that we're coming up with, some of these what we can expect from higher returns on some of the residential can offset some of the costs and even in some ways subsidize, but the cost of new construction is high.
Oh,
So that's-
I know it. I
and-
know it. I live it. So that's why I'm digging and asking. It's a big project and
Yeah.
it's neat and it looks great on a drawing.
Right.
But is it a viable use? You know, again, I think it's our responsibility in this committee to say, we're gonna give you this land.
Yeah.
For pennies on the dollar. What are you gonna provide back to the community?
And that is I mean, absolutely, you're right on. This is an area for the performa that is something we're working through right now and asking, how do we bring those costs down?
Right.
We're doing this kind of development in other areas that probably have similar expectations on what you get from the actual market. And that's where we're having to leverage just to get new construction built anywhere. We're having to leverage every tool we can to not subsidize it. So for us, that's actually, we introduced TIF as a possibility to ask, is this the kind of thing Lake Elmo wants to see? The sort of like the next phase?
Sure.
And is this something that would, and I know TIF is sort of a new thing in terms of like, is this something we want to engage in or not? But even just allowing that tax base to cut the debt service down a little bit can help offset for the time until these can be more viable. So we're doing, kind of having to pull every lever to almost bridge these gaps, because what it's gonna come down to is probably a gap. And that's where we really are, we're doing this right now in the city of Victoria, Minnesota, and these are high-paying areas. However, we're still needing to use all those tools just because they wanna see that more walkable, filled downtown areas. And truly, that's where it's a challenge on paper. It was almost the risk in showing you the performa is that these are.
I'm gonna ask
yeah.
the questions regardless, and I wouldn't,
Yeah.
the other projects are pretty standalone, they're not looking for leasable space, right? And so
Right.
that's their own business
Right.
plan, where this is a different project, and I think there's more scrutiny here in what needs to happen because of that. And again, if you're gonna provide living spaces or business spaces, how does that work? What's the business plan to how that works? And that's where the performers coming in and going, yeah, this is nice, but can people afford $60, all-inclusive rent
Right.
for a small business in Lake Elmo? And my experience has shown that that's very challenged. And having a wife who owns a small business and knowing the other small business owners in town, that's much higher than they do. And Rob, you lease space in town, and I don't think you're,
Yeah, I'm Pete.
Okay, I'd like to.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no worries.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
like
we
to-
lease space, pardon?
Excuse me, I would like to move along. This is
Okay.
a very long
Okay, fair enough.
discussion. I think,
We lease
I think
space,
the
we
question has been answered to the satisfaction of the people here.
Yep, okay, thanks,
Thank you
Tony.
so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question on the brewery side. Am I hearing right that, sounds like you want to pursue a broader liquor license, you want to have liquors and cocktails available? And I just come from this, my wife has a gluten allergy, and that was definitely something in mind as I looked at these and evaluated them, of what the options are for somebody with those sensitivities.
Yeah.
Very good, I wanted to confirm that. And then piggybacking is just how you plan to ingrain the brewery in the community. We just heard from the previous proposal how, the excitement around events and pulling the community there. Maybe I missed it in the packet as I reread, but is that within scope, or can you speak about the vision for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I pride myself on with River Siren Brewing in Stillwater right now is our ability to host events, both partnering with outside organizations as well as doing our own events as well. We also partner very closely with nonprofits as well as other for-profit businesses to host events and to support things. Like we just, the Ride to End Alzheimer's just recently did their ride started and ended in Stillwater this summer. It was one of 6, I think, on their national circuit, and we partnered with them to do a registration and packet pickup for their riders. So that's just one example. There's also a local bike club that meets at our brewery on every Thursday during the summertime, and we provide them with space. We work closely with Valley Booksellers. They're hosting an event this coming Sunday. It's called the Boozy Book Fair. So and I can go on and on about all the different like connections that we've made and like run clubs and with sporting like teams and all this stuff. I definitely want to, yeah, we work very closely with the Chamber, Greater Stillwater Chamber of Commerce, council members, et cetera, to continue to push that into the community. I think that's the nice thing about our platform is that, you know, it's very open, it's engaging, there's no pretense to it. It's definitely an area or a location that people want to come to and can you know, leverage the space for what they want with, you know, very low costs.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah, in terms of gluten-free options, yeah, certainly. So from our hard seltzers, and then if we have that ability with the brew pub license to serve wine, and yeah, sorry. Ciders, you know, different things like that, so that we could bring in to offer, you know, to meet the needs of those, for
Cool.
looking for gluten or non-beer options.
Yeah, I figured, and yeah, so good to hear you pursue that and part of the vision here. Thank you.
I have two short questions. One is, if you get the bid, when would you think you'd open maybe?
From a brewery perspective, I think a lot of it's based on mostly construction schedule. I think we can have the designs put together and run through the various committees that would need to happen. My goal would be that we could open in like early summer of next year, late spring, early summer. I think in the proposal we had on the calendar, it was like, you know, end of June, early July.
Thank you. The other question I have is, in your proposal, you mentioned the inclusion of tax increment financing in your business plan. Could you still proceed if the city did not accept that idea?
That is a lever that we can pull and use to really, to the previous question, offset some of the costs to pay down the overall debt service on properties like this, to then have a more competitive, approachable price point for local businesses, which is really the motivation for that, I think, on this end, as well as putting this kind of back into some of the public domain areas is sort of how we see using that.
But what you're saying, though, is that if the city council did not approve that tax increment financing plan, you could still proceed?
We could, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a question on the housing. Like, how many units are you guys planning, and what's the average rent you would anticipate?
8 to 12 in the document.
8 to 12? Okay. Thank you.
Are there any further questions for the presenters?
Well, when you said you'll hire a company to manage the property, are you gonna give them guidelines of kind of what you want to see in the retail space and the type of clientele of the residents, or are you just gonna let them run with it?
Well, I manage my building with a different company. I mean, it's a different entity, but at 3511 Lake Elmo Avenue. So we would use that entity as an example to manage the retail and the spaces in that area.
I was just curious if the person making the decision on who rents has an interest in Lake Elmo or not.
Absolutely. You're looking at him, yeah. Yeah.
And just to the types of people, we are talking with local businesses and working with them based on budgets that they would have or could foresee having. Based on the projected growth in this area, we're seeing that there is room for this to be happening in this downtown area. So we are picking kind of carefully from local interests as well as new companies.
If there are no further questions, I'd like to thank the presenters. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So really quick, our third proposal is gonna join us over Teams, so we'll take a quick break and get that set up and come back in 5 minutes.
It's my son's birthday.
Missing your son's birthday?
Oh, yeah.
Dedicated.
Yeah, how they
Or a terrible parent.
filling businesses.
Oh, your son.
I mean, I saw him
History.
for 20 minutes right before.
Hagstrom is going to manage that himself.
However, I brought him McDonald's.
How old is he?
I'm actually right next door to Hagstrom.
It changes every year.
Which one are you?
Established the law.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, I mean, he doesn't know that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a downtowner too. We've got a few of them here. Yeah. You know, Tom Breaking just gets a smile. Company and Matt Hearn and, you know, some of the others. But,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, the secretary reached out, like, Tom right here wants, like.
Yep. Hi. Virginia, you're muted.
I tried joining via my cell because this video wasn't working. Can you hear me right now?
Yep.
So what, we're gonna have that playback? Can you hear me?
That sounds all right.
Hello? I think Regina's on twice.
I don't know who Tom Rankin is, like, he's on the planning.
None of us know who he is. We don't
know.
It's live, so everybody can.
Okay, thanks.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. We've been having difficulties with the computer. So they're gonna share a presentation.
I'm not even lying. I was doing Jonathan, I think I went to a voice school. My dad was for like a month. My permit expired. I was like, don't. Thanks, Tony, for. I had $800 to resubmit. I just finished my basement. I used to work myself.
It needed to be done.
Yeah, I know.
Working on it a while?
And I don't. I'm not.
Ashley as well. Ashley is their name.
There's no bribery.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I thought I had
Like sudden seizures. They moved my mom. I had to move my grandma out of his hometown into an assisted. It was very stressful, and I think he's been on antidepressant for a few years.
Hey, Ashley.
July, she had some seizures.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know them out there, but
Just for weekend in and out of mail as they figured
Hi, I came back. Everyone can hear you, just FYI.
my dad back in the same medical
Okay.
class.
So when we have you, when we can hear your connection, it's really muffled from the other side. It's only when it was Jason's that it came in.
Was my helper.
Back to the base.
So when
Yeah, the flooring, he was
the
helping
audio
on
for you
the
comes
doors
in
and
here
sort of
or
finished
Jason?
that off myself. And then,
when it's under Jason? Okay.
Yep.
You're trying to do the whole basement yourself?
yeah, it's all done. It's sweet.
I'm not sure what that's all about, but
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. I'll go check with Kevin and see.
Yeah, I know. I got the drywall.
Townhomes are doing their early grading.
I hired the drywall out. The
I
type
can
thing.
hear you okay.
I hired that out. I wasn't messing with drywall.
Okay. I think it'll be okay once it
I
quiets
did my
down.
electrical. I hired plumbing. Mess with that. Some of the tile work.
You got a nice
Put in
compliment
like I'm a
from,
big wine and bourbon guy. Just like have this awesome conditioned cellar, glass door. Like that was my. So if you guys like bourbon or wine,
Okay. The way we're set up?
I also
All right.
send the invite out.
You could have talked to me to do your drywall.
Oh, and now you've done it? Yeah. I said it's done. It's like for the price they wanted, was like $5,200. I was like, last night you just take it. Grab it home. Get it done for a week.
All make choices.
Oh, I know.
Hey guys, I just want to do one more audio check. I just switched something. Can you guys still hear me?
The mess and everything.
You ran the 20 mile.
It's a bargain. You do it right. As long as things are
Yes.
out like this.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
This episode
Because now I'm gonna head home and curl in a corner.
joint or seam or corner.
In the position
like
of
those
question
guys
the
just
choice in the
makes
basement.
that makes.
I do that.
It was me, like, I lived there, so I went up and down, like,
Two guys.
even just hauling it in on a truck, like the big cranes. the front door, they're just like 2 hours, like, 40 sheets of plastic.
All I'm doing is presenting that they're they don't need to present anything. They're not making a presentation. They are speaking to the
Okay. Okay. When we were testing,
yeah. I can't hear them.
This one is interesting.
I mean, they speak and they like the mic catches it.
How does this thing?
I'm worried it's gonna echo.
Did you speak? Yeah.
Could you speak
Testing?
Testing,
Able
testing.
to get away for a vacation?
People are
Testing, testing.
We went to Scotland.
Okay.
Connie was talking to Tara.
I guess that's how it worked out.
She's over in Ireland right now for custody.
Pete, I'm sorry about your name. I was calling you Bob. Very much so. She's the famous sister. Yeah. Yeah, awesome, yeah. She and Mark are great. They've been able to build that business and get some really great clients.
Proposal is Old Village Social. So we'll see if we get our application, their team is here joining us on Zoom. So the proposed concept, Old Village Social, is a bold yet community-rooted vision that celebrates Lake Elmo's history, honors its small-town charm, delivers vibrant year-round activation for residents and visitors of all ages. The plan centers on the adaptive reuse of the historic fire station into a multi-use destination, including a brick oven pizzeria serving up top-tier, award-winning pizza, establishing Lake Elmo's first microbrewery and taproom, and a retro modern arcade. Supported by a lush public patio designed for everyday gathering and special events, the adjacent Parks building will be reimagined to a creative and inclusive artist-designed and built indoor-outdoor mini golf attraction, bringing whimsy and fun inspired from Can Wonderland. The space between the buildings will be connected into one cohesive entertainment complex via dynamic public realm, complete with a playground, game lawn, and flexible event space, fostering a walkable, community-first atmosphere that attracts repeat visitors locally and from across the region. Here you can see this is a rendering. This is just conceptual. The fire station is being preserved. So the old fire station, Old Village Social Hall, and the fire station is a permitted land use. It'll be a brick oven pizzeria, about 75 to 100 seats. Artisanal pizza and seasonal menu featuring multiple crust options, thin, thick, and gluten-free, baked in a traditional brick wood-fired oven. The menu will highlight locally sourced ingredients, rotating seasonal options, and house-made sauces. Microbrewery, brew pub, and taproom. Old Village Social will feature a lively taproom offering 8 to 12 rotating taps of house-brewed craft beers, seasonal beer flights, guest taps, and community-focused brewery events. Beyond beer, the venue will include a full bar with a carefully curated menu of unique flavor-forward cocktails, including signature craft cocktails, mocktails, and creative low and no alcohol options. There's also an arcade bay, private event space, and signature outdoor patio. This is the rendering of the Parks building. This is also conceptual. Parks building is a mini golf experience. It is a conditional use. It is 9 indoor holes, 9 outdoor holes. There's a flex public space area between the two buildings. There's a creative playground, lawn area, oversized yard games, and programmed event space. The economic impact, the build-out costs are approximately $2.9 million, and the estimated FTE, not including construction, are 20 to 25. Parking requirements. As we said before, there is a waiver provision in the code. The estimated range with this activity is between 58 to 81 spaces. Right now, the parking plan that was included in the site plan indicates about 28 spaces. You can see here, this is an overview of the site. And this will be for later. So go ahead and we'll set them up and bring them back over so they can see you and ask questions, and hopefully the audio works.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to test audio quickly. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, thank you. So, council members, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Regina Clapp, and I'm here together with my husband, Rob Clapp, and we're here to present on our concept of Old Village Social. And we're definitely very honored to be amongst the finalists here tonight for the Fire Station and Parks building. And I'm sorry we couldn't be there in person, so appreciate the flexibility for allowing us to join virtually tonight. Our concept of the Old Village Social is really all about community, fun for all ages, and uniqueness. We really want to be able to capture and harness that charm of Lake Elmo and then give people a place to enjoy and celebrate with their friends and family. And we want it to be unlike any place else. One of the things that really makes Can Wonderland and St. Paul Brewing so popular is that it can't be replicated. It's one of a kind because of the space, because of the buildings, because of the locations. And that's one of the things that we want to bring to Lake Elmo and with the Old Village Social as well. We want it to be someplace that you would equally be likely to visit with your kids after a soccer game, a date night, on an outing with your friends. And we know that this would draw visitors from across the local area and beyond. You described our concept. We do want to repurpose that fire station into a pizzeria, a microbrewery, bar, and arcade. The Parks building would be that indoor and outdoor mini golf concept, and then the space in between a flex space, which with a playground, with lawn games, with the spaces to gather, with the ability to program flexible things like outdoor movies or other community events. We really believe that this type of concept is what the community has asked for, and we're really excited to be able to deliver it. I'll just open it up for questions.
Who would like to start?
Well, I guess you weren't here, I don't think, to hear our previous discussion, but I'm asking you a question, the same question that another presenter had, and that was, with the trends of humans consuming less alcohol, costs going up, do you see the brewery as being a bit of a risky investment in today's climate, and how do you handle that?
This is Rob Clapp, owner of Collective and St. Paul Brewing in Can Wonderland. A very valid question, and one that we've been studying and paying attention to for the last, deeply in the last 12 months. And in fact, there's been an article several months ago, but that talked about all these breweries that have been closing, and they actually featured us because we were one of the few breweries that not only were we not at risk of going under, but we were thriving and exceeding year-over-year sales. Even this year alone, St. Paul Brewing is up 15% over last year. That's pretty unprecedented for breweries. Now, that being said, we also were at the forefront of going away from the production brewing model and switching to the brew pub model when I took that over in 2020. So we've drastically increased our revenue when we switched from that production model into that brew pub model, and really making it more of a gathering space, food and beverage, and beverages that suit more than just a beer lover's needs.
Thank you. And does that mean that 100% of your beer sales will be on site?
So we have St. Paul Brewing used to be a production brewery, so we have plenty of capacity at St. Paul Brewing. The intent would be that I would say 85% of our beer would be brewed at St. Paul Brewing, and about 15% would be brewed on site at the Lake Elmo facility. So it'd be a micro brewery.
Oh, thank you.
Jeff?
A similar question was asked for another applicant who was going to keep the second building. How confident are you with your understanding and your surveys of that second building? If it turns out your understanding is a little off and it's much worse, does that impact your feasibility of being able to do this project?
Well, I brought my 2 kids through there, and we ran all around that building, and it survived them. So, no, just joking. The short answer is no, but I'd also say that I've built a reputation as an entrepreneur and a developer of being able to get creative when it comes to repurposing buildings. And so what we'll always do is not just take no for an answer. We'll try and look at all the different scenarios that we could save the building, because that's still the cheapest way instead of building from scratch. So, but if for some reason it wasn't salvageable, no, that would not deter our plans. It would just, we just have to pivot, and that's what we do as developers and creative entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
What kind of hours are you thinking of for the golf or the mini golf to be open? And what seasons?
Yeah, so that's what we really like about this is, you know, for Can, it's a indoor only golf attraction, and we definitely see that dip in the spring, summer, and fall months when people just want to be outside. But then we have, you know, the hot days and the rainy days, and so it's a really nice mix of being able to come in the winter time for the indoor, and then all during nice season and nice weather, be able to utilize the outdoor course. We would anticipate being open 7 days a week for both concepts.
I'm kind of curious, go ahead, Tom, you go ahead.
I think it's important, and we've talked about this, is the connection that is possible or is important between Lake Elmo Avenue and Lions Park. And by occupying the whole space there with the outdoor mini golf, I'm thinking, so how do you secure that from in the winter or when you are closed? Is it a fenced operation? Are we cutting off the pass-through and the ability to go through from Lake Elmo Avenue over to Lions Park with this mass? How do you secure the mini golf area when you're closed or in general?
Yeah, we would anticipate having a fenced area just for the protection of the golf course when we're not open.
Is that a 4-foot fence? Is that an 8-foot fence? I think that's important to understand and the visualization of what this is.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that detailed on the renderings, but it benefits us for people to see it and not be enclosed behind a large, tall, private fence. So we would find that balance, and obviously work with the city to make sure its goals are being met as well.
Thank you.
May I ask what you would charge for a round of mini golf?
Great
For
question.
seniors,
And kids.
You're not that far behind, Jeff, easy.
There'll always be, some senior discounts, but typically it's in that $9 to $12 per person range.
Okay, thank you.
And I will add that this is not your average mini golf. Can Wonderland just got 2 awards, #1 in the country for indoor mini golf, and another publication gave us the #2 slot for best mini golf in the country. So this is not your typical just throw up cheap mini golf with a little windmill.
Thank you. Brett?
Yeah, so there's a lot going on outside. It's a beautiful space. Can you speak to the durability of that area, what you'll do to keep it vibrant and fresh for years to come?
Well, the good news is for all of my companies, we do the extraordinary, and so we have a full-time fabrication shop. I have 8 people that are employed in my fabrication shop, and so anytime things need repair, fixing, that's their job. And then we've also learned in the last almost 10 years that we have to build things really, really durable, because kids are hard on these things, and so are adults. So we take that into the planning process before we even build. But then if things are breaking down, then that's what that team is there. And if you've been to St. Paul Brewing, you'll see that there's a passion for the decor and the ambiance, and it's not a normal expense that most restaurants would endure. And it's just, for me, it's really important that it creates that aha moment. And honestly, it's expensive, but it's worth it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Jim?
Simply, we are not as densely populated as the area that Can is in, I don't think. Is that going to be an issue?
Also, great question. We think that there's, Lake Elmo and the surrounding East Metro area definitely has enough of the population. So if you were to ask, is it going to be vibrant enough and to survive on just Lake Elmo residents alone? Maybe, maybe not, but this is definitely going to be something that we're drawing from a larger community.
Thank you.
Was some of the variation in the parking estimate based upon some designs still not be finalized?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Was some of the variation for the range of parking spots available, is that because some of the design is still to be determined?
We did lay out the parking that you see as the best way for us to maximize what we're trying to accomplish as far as creating something pretty special. There's certainly the ability to scale that back to add more parking, but personally, I'd prefer to look at that as a last resort if we just absolutely have to do it, because I think all of these pieces really create that special destination.
Thank you.
Hey, Jeff, really quick, that range is from us based on what was submitted, and some of it's based on employees. So until we know those answers.
That helps.
And the other thing I will say about the parking, there's obviously, there are some on-street, and I understand that there's some downtown parking challenges. I think that's one of the things that we do as well, is get creative and figure out if there's ways that we can do some parking sharing with other businesses that don't necessarily need as much parking at nights and weekends when we would be more busy.
If there are no further questions, I'd like to finish up this part of the presentation. Thank you very much for your input, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
So at this point, before the vote, there is a discussion, if you want to go forward and have a discussion. Just to be clear, the discussion isn't like the findings that you would do at a typical planning commission meeting. This is just really high level, some of the things you like, maybe some concerns. You don't have to speak, you don't have to share those, and you don't have to share your vote. So if there's anything you want to say, that this is the time, and then after that, we will go to a paper ballot vote.
Jeff, would you like to start?
Yeah, just by simply saying thank you. We have applicants here who have 3 amazing and awesome proposals. And I can't speak for others, but I will. And I would reasonably presume most of us would be happy to accept any of these 3. And that to me is a sign, number one, that you want to be in our community, either because you already are, you care about the residents, you are a resident. Every one of these applicants has something about involving the community. So in other words, you listened. And I think the council and the EDA made it very clear, and staff in this process, that we wanted applicants that are here not just to provide a service with customers. And that's the lens I'm looking at from, like, how is it helping the community? And I have a bias. I am a resident with 2 kids, and that's the lens I see it from. We each have a different perspective that we're coming from. We are on the Economic Development Authority, so we also are caring about, does this invigorate the tax base? Does it expand the tax base? Does it help the downtown? Does it add something to it? And honestly, as much as I'm not gonna go into specific details about each of the 3, I do wanna thank you all, because you took the time, you all made investments to put this together. So you need some kudos for that.
I'll piggyback and say every one of these, like, you have great visions, and you're seeing those in front of you. I encourage whoever wins to consider some of the interesting, concepts from the other proposals and think of ways that you can incorporate them. To Jeff's point, like, we're happy with all these, and they all could have a life in our community. And I wish I could blend them all together and, double the size of the space, and we'd have a heck of a downtown.
I'll jump in. It's a couple of things that I really value are the experience. All the groups have a lot of experience in certain areas, and I think that's huge in building a successful proposal. I do think that they all seem to have a potential strong impact on the downtown, potentially a strong draw of people into town. I think that's vital to our decision. And I think my biggest concern is what is the long-term sustainability of the businesses that are being proposed, and how do they fit into the town? And it sounds like the presenters are admitting maybe we haven't figured all that perfect fit out yet, but we're working on it, and that's really critical. But yeah, we've got 3 great proposals here, and choosing one's going to be difficult.
I'd like to add that I think that any of these 3 developments would bring more foot traffic and a more diverse group of people coming into downtown Lake Elmo, which can only help. So whoever gets it, I hope they are really, really happy with it and that it works out well.
I would also ask, if you are not the one that eventually council goes with, please come back with a similar proposal. We have many obviously there's only one fire station that's being sold off. But please come back and continue your ideas for this community, because that matters.
Well, I'll just jump in here. Thank you very much for taking the time and the effort and the energy to put together the proposals. It's obvious that there was a lot of thought put into that, looking at your numbers and trying to figure out how to answer the questions that were in the RFP, and put together a proposal that answered really each one of those. I think that these types of projects will be of value to Lake Elmo, and not just to the residents of Lake Elmo, but I think other businesses that are in the Old Village area will experience a benefit from them being here as well. And so it's not an easy choice, at least for me. It's, I'm a little humbled actually that we got 9 proposals, and these 3 really stuck out, and they provide some jobs. They'll provide some tax revenue. They'll be what I would hope is long-standing businesses in the community and places where people can get together. And, you know, I was just thinking, last Saturday, we had our 100th anniversary celebration in this very location, and people just getting together and listening to music and laughing and little kids dancing. And it's great to see community members get together like that and have that opportunity. And I think that these proposals provide that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I think the next step is to do the voting.
Next step is to vote, so if you want to go ahead and fill out your ballots, we'll take a 10-minute break because you'll fill them out, and then we'll have to calculate them using ranked choice voting, and then we'll
Just
get the results.
procedure, Jason. Basically, we're going to put a check mark in the box beside the proposal that we think is number 1, and then we're going to put another check mark in the proposal that we think is number 2, and that's it.
Yep, and then you put your name, sign it, and
Got it.
hand it in.
Thank you.
No hanging chad, there's nothing.
We need to should we put our heads down on the table?
Heads up, 7 up.
Okay.
That's what cruise control is.
Yes. It's not organized.
Okay, so we've tallied the vote, and as I was saying, kill that. Are we good? No. So we were talking about it earlier, this was a ranked choice voting, so you picked your first and your second, whoever came in third, they were eliminated, and your second place was assigned to the other proposal. So the initial vote was 5 for Tap and Ladder, 3 for Lake Elmo Commons, and 2 for OV Social. And then when OV Social was eliminated, the final is 6 for Tap and Ladder and 4 for LE Commons.
I'm so sorry with all the background noise, I can't hear what you're saying.
You can't hear?
No, the.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Can you please repeat the order, A, B, and C, which ones?
Okay, so Tap and Ladder in the initial vote 5, LE Commons had 3, and OV Social had 2. So OV Social is then eliminated through ranked choice voting, and their second place was assigned. And the winner is Tap and Ladder with 6, LE Commons with 4. So you could discuss, and what we'd like to do is make a recommendation and just know if something doesn't work out with the one that's selected, the other 2 would just go second and third to the council in the future.
Thank you. Would there be any further discussion before a motion is made? Okay, well then, I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend to the city council that we accept the bid of Tap and Ladder.
So move.
Are there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Is anyone opposed? Okay, then therefore we recommend that the award of this proposal be given to Tap and Ladder.
That is the recommendation of this group to council.
That's right.
Council then takes this to at the next council meeting? When does that happen?
This will be brought to the council at the next meeting, full council. And then moving forward, we would go into a closed session, discuss specifics. So, yes, this will be on the next council agenda.
October 7th.
Will there be any opportunity for council to ask questions of this group as to why the votes were cast the way they were?
Yes, the person, Tap and Ladder should, schedule to be there.
October 7th.
But I meant, for the council to talk to the EDA voting members and Tom as to enhance why we voted. I mean, otherwise you just have a number 6 and a number 4.
So that wasn't.
And I know you have 2 council members, but, there may need to be some additional discussion.
That wasn't anticipated, and this is being recorded, so if someone want to go back and watch.
We can request a council member review the video of this meeting prior to the council meeting, which often we do for either planning commission or parks commission's meetings, so.
Okay, thank you.
And you can talk with them too, like they can call you, you can call them, we're not that evil, but we do answer our phones. So yeah, if you want to chat with all 5 of us, do it. But on the flip side, just be aware, depending on how it plays out, OML can apply, but just, connect with us. That's absolutely.
Thank you.
I'd like to adjourn this meeting. Are there any opposition to that?
Nope.
No? Okay. The meeting is adjourned at 8 o'clock.
That's